There's a man sitting alone in his room. The lights are off, the curtains closed, and the silence inside feels heavier than any noise. He hasn't opened the window in days. He barely eats. He barely speaks. Once, not so long ago, he laughed with friends, made plans, and believed in tomorrow. But now, he feels like a shadow of who he used to be. Each morning, he wakes up to the same empty feeling in his chest, the same question circling his mind. What is the point? He scrolls endlessly on his phone, not because he's interested, but because it distracts him from his thoughts. He sees others smiling, achieving, living, and, instead of feeling inspired, he feels even smaller, more distant from the world. He's not lazy, he's not weak, he's simply exhausted. Not just in his body, but deep in his soul. He's tired of pretending everything's okay, tired of holding in emotions he doesn't know how to explain, tired of trying to keep up with a world that never stops. People around him ask, "Why don't you just talk to someone?" But how can he explain a pain that doesn't have words? How can he describe a darkness that doesn't come from a single event, but from a slow and steady silence within? His family sees him, talks to him, even smiles at him, but they don't truly see what he's going through. They miss the tired eyes, the forced smile, the empty stare. He's surrounded by people, yet he's never felt more alone. Somewhere inside, he remembers the version of himself who was full of energy, full of ideas, full of hope, but that person feels like a distant memory. He wonders when exactly things started falling apart. It after a failure, a breakup, or just life slowly piling up until he couldn't carry it anymore. Day after day, he sits by the window, watching the world outside keep moving. Cars pass, birds fly, the sun rises and sets. But inside, nothing changes. Still, there's something he doesn't quite realize, yet something incredibly important. Even in this deep pain, even in this silence, a small part of him still refuses to give up. A tiny spark inside, barely noticeable, still believes. He's still here, still breathing, and that alone is proof of his strength. The world may not see the battle he's fighting, but he's fighting it every single day. Choosing to stay when it would be easier to disappear, that takes unimaginable courage. He doesn't know it yet, but this chapter, this moment of darkness, is not the end of his story. It's the beginning of something powerful, something real. Because the comeback always starts quietly, right? At the moment you think all hope is lost, the next morning feels no different. The heaviness is still there. The silence still lingers. But something inside him, barely noticeable, feels a little restless. Maybe it was a memory from childhood. Maybe it was a line from a video he once watched. Or maybe it was that quiet voice in his head whispering, "You've made it through every bad day until now. You're still standing. Why not try one more time?" He doesn't leap out of bed. He doesn't suddenly feel happy, but he does one small thing. He opens the window. Just a crack. Just enough to let in some light. The fresh air hits his face, and for a second, he closes his eyes and breathes deeply. It doesn't erase the pain, but it's a start. That day, he does one more thing. He takes a shower, not because he wants to, but because it's been days, and he wants to feel something. The water hits his skin, and the warmth reminds him he's still alive. He looks in the mirror afterward. The man staring back looks tired, broken, unfamiliar, but he's still there, still fighting, and for the first time in a long time, he whispers to his reflection, "I'm trying." No one around him notices these small victories. No one claps, no one says, "You're doing great." But that's okay, because this isn't for them. This is for him. Each day that follows, he tries to add one more small thing. A 5-minute walk outside, a healthy meal, replying to a friend's message with more than just "I'm fine." At first, it feels pointless, like walking through a storm with no umbrella. But over time, something begins to shift. He starts sleeping a little better. He smiles genuinely at a small joke online. He even finds himself thinking about goals again. Not big ones, just simple ones. Read a book, clean the room, go to the gym once a week. Healing isn't loud, it's not fast, it doesn't come with dramatic music or perfect timing. Healing is messy, it's slow, it's full of ups and downs. But most important, it's real. He still has hard days. He still feels waves of sadness. But now, he knows that feelings come and go, and that just because today is dark doesn't mean tomorrow won't be brighter. And on one of those quiet days, something unexpected happens. He finds himself comforting someone else, a friend, a colleague, a stranger online. They're going through something painful and he gets it. He listens. He offers words that he once needed to hear himself. And for the first time in forever, he realizes something powerful. Maybe his pain wasn't pointless. Maybe what he went through is what makes him strong. Maybe he survived for a reason. Weeks pass. The man who once couldn't get out of bed is now starting to live again. At first, it's messy and full of hurt. But soon, those pages start to hold hope too. But this time, something is different. The light feels brighter, the air feels warmer, and inside him, peace. Not perfection, not complete happiness, but peace. He thinks about who he was a few months ago. That version of himself who thought it was over, who thought the pain would never leave, who wanted to disappear. Words like strength, progress, and even future begin to appear. That healing is real, that comebacks are real, and that one moment, one choice, one breath can change everything. His mind is still loud on certain days, full of doubts and fears, but he has tools now. Breathing, talking, walking, creating, and most of all, remembering how far he's come. He surrounds himself with the right energy. He unfollows negativity. He seeks voices that uplift. He doesn't need thousands of friends, just a few people who truly understand. He's not back to normal, because he knows now there's no going back. There's only moving forward. But something inside him has shifted. He no longer runs from his pain. He faces it to say, "Look, you made it. You're still here, and you're stronger than you ever imagined." He understands that healing doesn't mean never feeling broken. It means learning how to carry the pieces with grace. And every step he takes now is a quiet revolution. He realizes that maybe, just maybe, there are others out there sitting alone in their rooms, thinking no one understands. And maybe he can be their sign of hope. He starts sharing his story, not for attention, but for connection. His words reach people. His voice, once silent, becomes a light for others still stuck in the shadows. A victory that no one else may ever see, but one that matters deeply to him. He journals, sometimes just a few lines here and there. Then one evening, he sits by that same window where it all began, and he wants to reach back in time and hold that version of himself. In that moment, something powerful happens. He realizes that his story, his silent battle, has meaning, that what almost broke him, built him instead, that his darkness gave birth to light. He becomes living proof that no matter how deep the darkness, light is always possible. So, if you're watching this right now, feeling like you're lost in your own mind, hear this. You are not alone. You are not weak. You are becoming. This is not your end. This is your turning point. Breathe, stand up, and take that first step. Because, just like him, you too can rise. One day you'll tell your story, and it will become someone else's survival guide.